Hey everyone, welcome to episode 29 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Before I move on, just want to announce the winner of our feedback competition. And before I even do that, just want to say thank you so much to everybody that took time and gave a load of feedback about the show. It was fantastic. It's really useful for us to know what you guys like, what you guys don't like, and what you want us to do more of. Quite a lot of varied responses, so I don't think I'll be able to cover everything as we move forward, but you've given us a good idea of what it is you want, so thank you very much. So without further ado, the winner of the Zzharg Croxigor model is Dragon Dave. So Dragon Dave, from the looks of it, is a guy who follows us on YouTube and quite enjoys the 7 Super Series show, which is awesome, and it was great to have some feedback, so thank you all very much. Welcome back, I'm Ben, and today I'm joined once again by my regular co-host, Rich.
Huzzah! Hello everybody.
How you doing, man? Alright?
I am okay. Real life has given up and I can now podcast and Blood Bowl all I want.
That is good, because it's about to get very quiet, given that it's Christmas and everything.
It is about to get very quiet.
With you having 17 children and me working at retail. December's
17
going to be
children.
17, give or take.
Four. It feels like 17 sometimes. It definitely feels like 17 sometimes.
It was cool to see Randall at club the other night, though.
Oh, he loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
That was good. It's always great to see Killer Randall there.
It is. It really is. And I get a certain amount of pride when I hear Randall correct someone on rules.
Oh, he handled himself really, really well.
Yeah, he did.
Full credit to Ben 4, I don't know, a new guy came to the club. And when I paired him against Randall, he was like, oh, is this, is it a league game, or is it, I don't know, just want me to run a friendly game? And I was like, no, just play league. Yeah. He kind of looked at me funny, and then Randall gave him a really good run for his money.
Yeah, I think he realised about 3 turns in.
It's so good.
But Randall loved it. He had far too many sweets. He was buzzing at one point. I had to look at him and kind of go, read it in. It's like 9:30 and you're still chewing down on E-numbers.
Yeah, we do overdo it with the sweets at the club.
Yeah. Oh, it's right for us, isn't it? But Randall absolutely loved it. Ben was great with him. Absolutely great with him. And I think he enjoyed it. Hopefully he enjoyed it.
Honestly, he's a good kid, so everyone responds well to him. Yeah. He's got that enthusiasm, but he's polite enough that it's not, unpleasant, which is great.
Yeah, it's a tempered sort of child response in it, and
he's got that eagerness to learn as opposed to eagerness to just run riot.
Yes. Yeah, exactly that, and he will quite happily play different people and work out different ways of not to do things.
Yeah, and he does learn. And he plays less greedy plays than most adult players, which is quite entertaining.
Yeah, he does actually, doesn't he?
Yeah, we saw some of that at the weekend. So, Rich, what are we talking about on episode 29?
We are talking about World Cup team builds, team events, and the usual games, hobbies, and star players.
Okay, so first things first, news. What have we got this week?
We have got Chaos Dwarf rumours.
Okay, so I think we touched on this last episode. There were pictures of store lists. So the stores get advanced lists of what products are coming from Games Workshop. On that, they had the Ogres listed for December 14th release.
They did indeed. So
we'll be doing our Ogre episode for Bonehead Basics very, very soon. And on there was also Chaos Dwarfs.
On exactly the same date.
Yeah, in December as well. Mm. But obviously we've not seen any spoilers or anything like that for it.
No.
We haven't had all 4 teams this year.
We haven't, have we?
Wood Elves, Halflings, and Ogres.
I don't know if we will, because they had that delay, didn't they? They had the issues with the printing and everything else.
Yeah, with all the
Sylvaneth.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's pushed it all, and they probably don't want to rush it. But
that's what I assumed, with the Ogres being shown off and then the release date of coming in December. Fine, okay, we're getting 3 this year, that's absolutely fine. But they're on the list. But they're on the list as a slightly different price.
They are actually, aren't they?
Yeah, the box is like $5 more or something like that. Just enough for it to be weird. They've got separate bull centaurs for $20, $25, I think.
Yeah, 25 I think it was.
Which is probably about the same price as the individual ogre, wasn't it?
Yeah. No.
Ogre's about £20.
I think it's cheaper than that.
Then it would be about right for it to be $25 then. So there is a chance we've got Chaos Dwarfs coming.
I don't know whether it's a new sculpt though.
You think? Well, this is the thing is that if they are coming, is it just the re-release?
I reckon so.
But then why would the stores have it on their list of things to sell?
True.
Yeah, because I've had this argument with a guy at the local club called Craig. Hi, Craig. And we've put a bet on it. If Chaos Dwarves come out and it's a new team, I have to play 3 matches of Magic the Gathering Modern with him, which is a horrible format and I hate it. And if I win, so if the Chaos Dwarves are not a brand new team, he has to play Blood Bowl 7s with me.
Sounds like a good deal.
I think so. But anyway, that should be interesting. I'm hoping that it is Chaos Dwarves because I've seen them play a couple of times recently. They look really fun.
Randa does very well with them.
Exactly.
Randa does very well with them.
And we saw one at the Fobble Wobble Cup this weekend. But we'll touch on that when we talk about World Cup teams. So also we have got a couple of bits from Facebook. So the first one is the Goblin's Treasure, which is, there's no news on releases yet or anything like that, but we saw it come up and it is basically 3D printed stadium bits. So there's an Orc stadium.
Very cool.
So they've got ladders and pitch bits and bobs, and they've got scoreboards and things. There's no real information about it just yet.
No, not a lot at all, except for the Kickstarter. November 29th.
November 29th, the Goblin's Treasure.
That's when I go away.
Oh, okay, cool.
Go to Bath. There really isn't anything on that at all, is there?
No,
there's like 3 posts.
Just that little preview sketch of some of the bits. Now, it depends on the price. So we saw another STL only Kickstarter in the last month for Dugouts.
Yes.
Which was quite cool. But again, it's that availability. It's, £10 to get the STL files. And then how do you get them printed?
Yeah, £300 to get you the 3D printer, and yeah,
it
is. It's I love the idea of it, and provided you've got easy access to a 3D printer, either the public or private one, or you have one yourself, it's a bit. It's a bit of a niche almost. It's become a niche. You're either having to stump up and go out your way to find this stuff, or you've got to suck it up and accept you're not going to get it.
Yeah,
which is sad.
And we're not seeing resin being used anymore.
No.
From a casting point of view, so local player James got that massive dwarf stadium made that was resin.
Yeah,
that was hundreds of pounds.
Yeah,
cast up. Now it's beautifully done, but it's just that price range of it's almost as much as the new Games Workshop Necromunda box.
Yeah,
but not quite because nothing is. So that is Goblin's Treasure on Facebook, and as soon as we get information about the Kickstarter, we will share it. And if the Kickstarter is going live on the 28th, we should have an episode out.
That following weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, so we should be able to cover it.
That'd be
cool.
Rightio. So RNE Studio have got Cell Thunders coming up, which is a Norse team.
Yeah.
Which Ben 2 from our group is very excited about, because there's lots of muscles to paint.
Oh, but they look rather clothed.
They do. There's a couple of throwers who are a bit more naked than others, and the actual Yeti itself is brilliant. I love that Yeti.
Yeah, it's a very static pose, but it's got that. It's very unique, isn't it?
It really is. It's just stalwart, isn't it? You're looking at it going, you know what? You can't come through me.
He looks like an armoured beast man from X-Men. Like
really does.
The cartoony one, where it looks like that classic Yeti sort of Neanderthal kind of thing. The models that have been shown so far, so Kickstarter coming soon is information. There is a real mix. There's obviously the Yeti. There's a couple of werewolves. So this is like you said, this is supposed to be a Norse team, but it's a weird kind of.
It's a mix, isn't it? Because the Ulfwerners are being portrayed as werewolves, which they kind of are, but they're not, aren't they? They're sort of in between. What confuses me is the positionals that the ladies are that are here.
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, it's another one of those teams where you can use them for anything really.
I mean, it's obvious. You can see the berserkers. The berserkers are down the bottom covered in spikes. You've got your Ulfwerners. The throwers fine. The linemen are there. Are your standard sort of your humans, but there are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 lady players, and I can't work out what they're meant to be. A couple of them look like they're running, so they could be runners.
Yeah.
So you got maybe 2 runners in there. And then that's it, isn't it? Berserkers, runners, Elfwerners, linemen, Yeti, throwers.
Yeah. Well, this thing goes live in 3 days' time from time of recording. So when this episode comes out, this will be live, and I'm sure that we can share it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, especially if the price point is good. Now, RNE are historically on the higher end of prices, but they do often have sales.
They do. And not only that, when they do their Kickstarter, obviously with a Kickstarter you get it cheaper anyway, but they tend to do previous teams at a cheaper price as well.
And there are some really great R&E models out there. So, yeah, definitely want to keep an eye out for this weekend.
Yes. So, in 2 days, the Squig team is being released by Hungry Charles.
So we spoke about this a few episodes ago, and not a lot of information has come out about it. They've spoiled some more pictures, so they've got the whole team, and the massive variety of actual Squig models is huge now.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? And we're at a loss as to what they're meant to be. Whether they're meant to be the secret Squig team, which would be a very brave and bold move, or what they're hoping to be able to run them as, or what teams they're hoping to run them as.
I think this is going to be one of those classic, use it for a bunch of different teams.
Yeah.
That said, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Squig hoppers on the team, and the actual Squigs themselves, and some big Squigs that look very different. So,
and a goblin dressed as a Squig.
And a Pika Squig.
And a Pika Squig.
Pikachu Squig, which is cool, one with a tail. Very cool team, and obviously the Mike Wazowski one-eyed Squig. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the price point is and what they recommend using them as.
Yeah, and that's it. That's what's. I mean, Hungry Charles are traditionally around 70, 80 quid.
Yeah, they're on the medium side of the price. And the models are really good.
Yeah, they really are. I don't think we've ever had sort of a concern of their sculpts at all, have we? You never looked at them and thought, you know what, that's a bit tacky.
They made the World Cup team as well, didn't they?
Did they?
Pretty sure they did.
Well, that's quite cool.
Which was quite a cool team. I might have to pick one of them in the future. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Does that do it for miniatures news?
It does do it for miniatures news.
Just checking through my memory to see if there's anything else we shared.
Oh, there's something I wanted to say.
What we got?
I recently got a new human team.
Oh yeah.
From Stefan from Franchise Draft. Now, draft is capital D, full stop, R, full stop, A, full stop, F, full stop, T, full stop. Yeah, I got that right. But they do an alternative human team, which is based more around NFL look, the actual proper American football look. They do a mixture of sort of blokes, of girls, and their ogre is just a giant man.
The ogre is very cool,
which is brilliant.
You posted a lot of different heads and things. Do they come, or can you pick them up as an expansion?
2 different heads that they come with. So one's spiked and chaos-like, and the other one is a traditional football helmet. The other heads that he's doing are his own conversions. So it's he's doing them from current GW. So
that's quite a cool idea.
His idea of a team is that you draft different players from different races, and you have this mixed bag of players. And so he's got an undead player, and he's got a wolfy player, and he's got a Norse player.
I'm sure he did a lizard one as well.
He did do a lizard one, which he did very well actually. Because
well, that's what made me think he was making these heads to cast up to do to give them out.
No, not at all. He's just pinching GW bits, but doing a very good job of it.
The casts look really lovely. They look a little bit slighter than the current 32mm scale.
They are, particularly the girls.
Yeah,
they are, and they can be very fiddly.
But the numbers are really cool.
Oh, the numbers are brilliant. So it's like a digital format.
Exactly like a digital clock. 2 8s. So you can you cut the bits out, or do you just paint them? Did you?
I'm assuming no. I'm not brave enough. I've got one up there actually. I'm not brave enough to probably cut them off.
You can paint over the lines.
You can definitely paint it over them.
Which is something that would be incredibly useful for actual Blood Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning on going on a dark scheme and just having some white or yellow numbers coming out of it. What?
That sounds like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rich.
That is not. It's going to be white, not yellow. You've just made that decision for me, and it's definitely not going to be black. Wow, looks like I'm going for a bright pink and yellow.
There you go.
This is great. Yep.
Yeah.
One of a blobby team.
Okay, we've got a couple of shout-outs to cover as well. First of all, Kyle. So Kyle is a great listener who's supported the show, gets in contact with us quite a lot.
Kyle P.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle P.
Yeah. He has had a horrible time the last month or so. We just wanted to say, take care of yourself, all the best. Keep rolling those blocks, and keep in contact and keep watching our stuff and paying attention, because actually you're appreciated. We've got a shout out for Jared as well. So I was doing some ogre research, he got in contact, and this guy, awesome, I like this. In a league, he runs a 6 ogre 0 reroll team.
Oh man, that's brave of Bonehead.
Basically, his theory is that you roll some boneheads, which is fine, but you just got to play well and hope the dice carry you. And he says when you can, you just steamroll people. And actually,
I like that.
Fobble Wobble Cup at the weekend, or that's 1,100 plus others build, there was 6 ogres, and 6 ogres is huge. Now, normally in League, you start with 4 and 4 rerolls, I think, so that you can actually do stuff with the team.
Yes.
But if you've got 6 ogres, you can protect the snotlings. And it works really well. And he's just said you just got to pick what you do. So I wanted to mention that because I think that's very gutsy. I got a quick one here from Alex. I'm just going to read it straight out. Hey guys, if you've got a podcast out before the 17th, would you be able to give the Team England voting a shout out, please? We are keen to get as many people's voices heard as possible. So I'll put the link to the Talk Fantasy Football thread in the show notes. This is to do with the Euro Bowl and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So this episode will go out on the 16th. I did warn him. And voting closes at the end of the day on the Sunday the 17th.
Oh, plenty of time.
And the last little one is Stephen, who got in contact and said, hey, there's more accessories on Hero Forge now for your own fantasy football stuff.
There is. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Which is very cool. He showed me, I think, the one he's got built up, or one he's been building, which is really, really cool. And he also helped point it out that our Spotify had stopped auto-updating, which was a bit of a pain. Yeah, I don't know. No idea why. Dropped a line to the Podbean support and they sorted it out, which is great.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, which was cool. Then we've got a few tournaments. So we've spoken about this one regularly. We've got the North Wales Carnage Cup coming up on the 23rd and 24th in Wrexham, North Wales. That's run by a friend of the podcast, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
We've got Saturday the 30th of November. There is Burmayhem Bowl 4. I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but last year was really good.
It was amazing. It was good fun. The number of teams, the players that were there, and how well Sean did with that is a credit to him and the tournament. It's
looking like it's going to be a busy one again, which is really, really cool. And we've got the Elf Olympic Games coming up on the 14th of December in Cardiff. That is another one of the tournaments that are in the SWTC, the Southwest Tournament Championship. So I will get a video up coming very soon, giving you the lowdown on the format, the rules, and the background behind that. I think it's something like a 1,400 team build.
Oh, wow.
And they've got some cool Goblin special rules, which is really, really cool. And a quick one for Aldershot Muty Bowl, which isn't until March, so we'll mention it closer, but I did say that I'd give a little mention. I think that wraps it up for news. So on to games, hobby, building, gluing, things like that. Rich, what have you been up to in the last couple of weeks?
I, as I just mentioned about Franchise Draft, I'm starting to paint those guys. So they're all built up. It took me a couple of hours to build them all a few weeks back. I'm starting to prime and paint them and get on with it, but I'm unsure about
they're resin, right?
They are resin.
Did you wash them?
I did.
Okay. I've historically been quite cowboy with my resin stuff, but I picked up the Treeman for Erewhon, and when I picked them up and literally, they felt greasy.
Okay.
So I did wonder,
I didn't get any greasiness from them.
Yeah.
They didn't feel sort of horrible or nasty. I just got into the habit of whenever I get resin to clean it.
It's the right thing to do. I've just been cowboyish about it. I just wondered if you'd behaved yourself.
I did behave myself.
Really
I gave them a bath. I scrubbed them good. They came out quite well. Other than that, I am starting to work on my Skaven team for Beachhead.
So this is the no fun Skaven team.
This is the no fun Skaven team. This is the Skaven team with no gutter runners at all, which I think upsets you slightly.
No, if I play against them, it won't upset me at all. Well, that said, you know what? Given tournament rules, you could. So you've got the Rat Ogre, yeah?
Yes.
You've got the 2 Blitzers.
Yep.
You will have some spare skills to upgrade some linemen.
I will.
And you do have Fez Glitch and possibly the Verminator, which you could squeeze in. So I think one's 100, one's 130, 120, 140, something like that.
I want to take the Fen Beast.
Oh, the Fen Beast is 115, he's a bargain.
Yeah.
So for Beachhead, which is on the 8th of February, which is our 32-man team at the Bournemouth International Centre, part of the Beachhead 2020 convention, it's set in Albion, which is an old-school Warhammer setting, and the best thing about Albion were the Fen Beasts. Basically, swamp trolls, or at least trolls made of swamp.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
I found a Reaper Mini on eBay, which to my upset was actually metal, and I was hoping it was going to be their plastic. I don't like metal, but it has been bought. It is here, and it does look quite cool. So I'll be painting that up to go with it, and hopefully have a very, very thematic team.
No, thematic, and then very strong as well with them and a Rat Ogre.
Definitely. Other than that, lots of tabletop since I was last on here. So I am actually on a 12-game unbeaten streak on tabletop.
When you say unbeaten, do you mean like just draws?
No, there's been some wins in there. In fact, I won 5 of my 8 games in the minor league, drawing 3 on the way to winning it. I drew 2, 1-1 at the Tombstone tournament.
Yeah.
Which puts me at 11. And I just beat Ben in the Christmas Bowl a couple of weeks back.
Oh, congratulations.
So I'm about 50-50 on wins and draws. Well, a little bit less, so maybe 60-40 on wins and draws, but unbeaten, which has been great fun. It's about to come to a crashing end with whoever I play on Tuesday because I've announced it.
So my hobby has been around, I've posted this up on our various social media things. I built a little Tree Man team for Secret Sevens. So 7 Super Series is the YouTube show, which is all about Blood Bowl 7s. Just about to go into the playoffs now, which is quite cool. So coming out this weekend will be the first playoff game. And the next season is going to be about secret and stunty teams. Ooh. So I was having a look through the list, and the Tree Man team took my fancy. So it's basically just Tree Men and then very fast Snotlings.
Oh, the sprites.
Yeah, which is cool. So I got some of the little fire dudes from Age of Sigmar, part of the Demons of Tzeentch. Painted them up all ghostly, glued a couple onto some of those Era 1 Treemen, and painted them up in like no time. I hardly used any Agrax, just on the base, which is it's a massive change for me. I love them. I think the models are brilliant, and the good thing is if I pick up another 3 Treemen, I can run them in regular Blood Bowl as ogres, which will be quite cool.
Oh, that's quite cool.
That said, I will have to be picking up 2 boxes of the ogre team coming out soon.
Yeah, I want 1.5.
Oh, there we go.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, I'm sure the club between us, we can find some half boxes.
Oh, definitely. With the Secret Sevens,
yeah,
I reckon Chaos Halflings could do quite well in that.
Well, I've got mine all painted up, so
I think it'll be quite good.
The Spawn underachieved in
Did it really?
Yeah, I thought they'd be like. Well, I kind of was thinking they're just 2 Minotaurs. Apparently they just weren't as effective. They got easily led off. 2 Frenzy on the line. Yeah, I know. I was gutted. I didn't get a chance to use my team. I was going to run them both with Claw.
Yeah.
Because I thought actually chuck them on the line, and then you're going to get a couple of pushovers. You're going to get a couple of knocks, and then you should be able to Mighty Blow Claw your way to success. But how they performed by Nick, who ran them at Tombstone, was less good.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And you can't throw halflings.
No.
But they will definitely be appearing in Secret Sevens because they're a cool team. And that's it for my hobby recently. That said, I'm very much looking forward to a thing that Ben, who was the co-host on the last episode and he's been on a couple of times, and on the YouTube show as well, who is running a secret Grombrindle for our local league. So basically, everyone's putting in the value of a Blood Bowl team, so everyone who wants to be involved, and what we're doing is we're ordering a bunch of teams, splitting them up into, so they come in 2 sprues, so 1 sprue goes in one box, another sprue goes in another box. Ben is going to wrap them, and then everyone draws a sprue from each box and builds a 7th team ready for January.
Cool.
Which is very cool. And we've got 11 players basically, so we can order 1 of every team except halflings and goblins because you need the big guys.
Okay.
It's a shame the ogres aren't going to be out because actually that would be a really valuable pick.
Yeah, really good.
But 6 goblins and 6 halflings just yeah.
Oh, it'd be brutal.
I was up for it, but I think the power level it's just not as fun because goblins are fun because of the secret weapons.
Yeah.
Halflings are fun because of the treemen. So actually, yeah, not so great. But really looking forward to that. If anyone out there wants to get involved with that, drop me a message because we may be able to order a couple of extra teams, and I'm more than happy to send out a random selection to people.
That would be quite cool.
Right then, let's move on to our first topic. Okay, so the first topic we're going to talk about today is the World Cup team building rules. So we weren't lucky enough to attend the World Cup, which despite a lot of complaints seems to have been a really successful event. 1,400 plus Blood Bowl coaches playing 9 games over 3 days, even if it was lopsided, would undoubtedly have been full on and hopefully a lot of fun.
Yeah, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you? So it was a lot of effort for some people to get there and sort things out, but yeah, fingers crossed people came away with happy thoughts at the end of it.
Lots of people have mentioned at one time or another, however, having a standardised set of team building rules for NAF tournaments, and I did wonder if this could be it. We're going to have a look at the build rules and some of our favourite rosters from the event. So, the team build rules themselves are probably some of the more complex ones I've seen. Have you had a look through this?
I did. We what got me with it is when you're at a team, obviously it's standard teams, thankfully. It's not like what we do when you're trying to mix and match.
Yeah.
So generally, if you're going to somewhere like the World Cup, you'll have a good idea, a grasp of all the teams and how they play. But there's a lot to remember. It was a larger team build than normal. 1,200?
No. It was for some teams and not for others.
Right, sorry. There it is. So yeah. So you got the different varying. That was great, England. You have the varying amounts for each team dependent on tier.
Yeah.
On top of that, when you get into day 2 and the next games, there's additional skills to remember for yourself and for others to try and pick up on when you go through. And for me, it just looks like a disaster waiting to happen, and all it can do is slow down games.
So, having played with the World Cup rules at the weekend at Fobble Wobble, it's peculiar. So, the build list is quite complex, but when you've built the team, playing them is an absolute doddle.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was surprised. Now, building the teams was tricky, and the other team that we played against got all theirs wrong.
Oh, well.
Basically, because it is so weird. So first of all, there's 4 tiers instead of 3, with tier 4 being the bottom, so the stunty ones, goblin, halflings, and ogres. Tier 3, Khorne, Nurgle, Chaos, Slann, Underworld, and Vampires. And you've got tier 2, which are Chaos, Renegades, Elf Union, High Elves, Humans, Khmer, Necromantic, and tier 1 being everybody else. Really, all you've got there is tier 2 and tier 3 being separated from what we would normally see.
Yeah.
Okay, which is, absolutely fine. And there are some other formats, for example, the Denmark ATV format, the All Teams Viable, which has 6 tiers, including tier 0. So it's more straightforward than that. As far as team creation went, yeah, you're exactly right. Varying starting cash. So tier 1 was 1160, tier 2 was 1200, tier 3 was 1250, tier 4 was 1250 as well. A minimum of 1100 had to be spent on team and rerolls and stuff like that. The additional starting cash could be spent either on your team or on skills. So if you had a tier 1 team that started at 1160, you could spend 1120 on your team, and then he would have 40k left for skills.
All right, got you.
There are some other restrictions around normals and doubles. So tiers 1 to 3 could only have 1 double skill. Tier 4 could have as many as you like. And 1 player on the list could have 2 skills, but both had to be normal, and that cost 50k instead of 20 plus 20.
Right, okay.
And it was staged, it was snaggered. So day 2, like you said, tier 1 got 40, tier 2 and 3 got 50, and tier 4 got 70. And on day 3, everyone got another 40k. So if you rephrase this ever so slightly to say that on day 2 you got plus 2 skills, and tiers 2 and 3 can have one of them be a double, and tier 4 could have a mixture of 2 regulars and a double, it becomes a lot simpler. But the tricky thing that we found was understanding that starting cash barrier. So I've talked about it a couple of times now. We went to Fobble Wobble at the weekend, which was Ben W put our shout out for local clubs to see if we wanted to do some kind of Champions League where the best of the best went and played against each other. Because of scheduling and everything, it was really just Wobble, myself, who got in contact with him, and we ended up playing a 4v4 tournament for the day, which was cool. He said, let's play with the World Cup because actually that's the up and coming format. That brings around this entire topic. So what I did was I typed up the team build rules, put it into the Fobble Wobble rule pack and shared it. That confused people, even though I literally copied and pasted it from the rules website. The whole starting cash confused things. So we had people buying 11, 12 skills, and everyone buying loads of doubles.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. But the outcome was a pretty reasonably balanced set of teams. And I was planning on running Wood Elves, but I ended up being the odd man out, so I TO'd for the day, and that gave me 6 skills. No, it didn't give me 6 skills. It gave me 5 skills, or 3 and a double, which, you know what, would be on par with what we would say for our tournaments, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And that would be for day 2. So day 1 was basically your team plus 3, day 2 was your team and then another 2, so up to 5, and then day 3 was up to another one, so up to 7. And incremental skills works really, really well, and if you've got 3 sets of 3 games, then actually you do need variation. Because, I mean, when we had Sewer Bowl, we had 1 skill set over 5 games. It got a bit wearing, not quite samey, but it did, and I think for next year what we should probably do is have 2 phases of skills.
Okay.
So games 1, 2, 3 with 1 set, and then games 4 and 5 have extra skills or something.
Yeah.
Do a split build. So yeah, the World Cup build, tier 4 could get stat increases as well that were slightly different to the normal stat increases. So yeah, just an interesting build. So having looked through the pack and everything, what do you reckon to them being a standardised? Would you want to use these for one of our tournaments?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I really wouldn't. I think all it does is create confusion, and particularly when you haven't changed any of the word and you just put it across.
Yeah.
And there was confusion across the board, is an indication that 1, it's either not written very well, or 2, it's just too complicated for a one-day tournament.
Yeah, I think
would you be trying to force too much in for one day?
I don't think so. I mean, the World Cup was just 3 one-day tournaments.
That's true.
Yeah. The outcome was fine. Once you've got those skill packages, it was fine. But I do massively think that if you want to have a variable team value, I think go for it. Keep the skill packages as skills, not as money.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I suppose it allows that extra level of tactics, doesn't it? You can get that edge 4 lineman if you really wanted, and things like that with it. And on the tier 4s, sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's only tier 4. I think you've got to make it as open as possible and just make it as simple as possible.
And I think that's why when you look across most of the tournaments, they have a fairly standard rule set anyway. Yeah. With the tiers, it's X amount for tier 1, it's X amount for tier 2, it's X amount for tier 3. Yeah. Go have fun, guys. And everybody understands it, everybody can deal with it, and if it's your first tournament or your 10th, you understand what it is. I know that my opponent has a tier 2 team, therefore he is going to have at least 1 normal skill and maybe a double skill. Yeah. And that's it. And there's only 1 extra thing to remember. And it's so much simpler. I like the fact that you do get the different builds that you can go with, but I just don't think it adds enough. So for looking at Beachhead in February, the current rules pack is along the lines of you have got X amount of thousands to spend on upgrades. It's just on upgrades. So skills and stats. But you do that in League, and they are at a very set price, and each tier gets a different amount, but you spend 1,100 on your team, and then you get X amount to spend on upgrades. Yep. You can say, I'm going to go for the strength upgrade, but that's basically all my money. Yep. But it's 2 separate pots, and I think having those 2 separate pots makes it massively easier for people to pass, and when you do have that middle ground, it makes it awkward. Now, I believe the World Cup guys did have a good spreadsheet to help out when inputting all the teams, but if you're not using the spreadsheet, it was a bit complex. Yep. So, thoughts after running the teams at Fobble Wobble was that you end up with a very reasonable amount of skills, and it really didn't feel any different than a normal build. If we'd said it was 1,100 plus these skills for this tier, it was fine. And looking at the results, the tier 4, which would normally be tier 3 team, did the same as you would expect them to do. So Ogres, I think, came away with a win, a loss and a tie, something like that. Tier 1s did pretty well, apart from me and Zamazons, who got unlucky with the matchups and unlucky with the performance. But yeah, I don't think it balances the tiers any more than a normal list would. That's good. So, yeah. We wanted to use some of the lists and some of the examples from the World Cup. However... The website's down. Yeah. The coach ranking and the NAF World Cup
whatever site, it is just unavailable at the moment. But I'll run you through a couple of the team lists that we had at the weekend. One team was Orcs that went 2-1, I believe.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, they lost to Lewis, who went 3-0 at the tournament and won the day for Wobble. That was quite impressive.
Well done, Jims.
So Orcs are tier 1. Yeah, 4 Black Orcs, 4 Blitzers, 1 Goblin, 1 Troll, 2 Linemen, and a Thrower. That left him with enough for 2 Fan Factor, 2 rerolls, and then 5 normal skills.
Okay.
Blitzers, 2 Guard, 1 Mighty Blow, 1 Tackle, and Guard on the Troll.
I like that.
Okay, so this is for a day 2 build at the World Cup.
Yep.
Day 1 would have had 2 less skills.
Yep.
Which I think is a bit light for a tournament. I like day 2 with about 5 skills. And you have that variability of it's 4, 5 or 6 skills, which I think is enough for crunch and enough for detail without being skills everywhere.
Yeah.
Because, you know what, if you've run Orcs before, haven't you?
I have.
Okay. Do you feel like there's some skills missing?
No.
I feel like there's some skills missing for your team to be great, but you've got enough to start.
Yeah, I mean, the way I built my blitzers, ignoring the lucky doubles, is I've got 2 with guard, 2 in Mighty Blow.
Yeah.
Because you want 2 to support, 2 to punch face. I don't run a troll. But the only thing that you would be missing is probably block on the Black Orcs.
Yeah. So the Orcs feel like they're missing skills because the Black Orcs didn't have block, but actually that kept them kind of balanced and gave the tier 1 player the choice of, right, do I make my other guys more efficient or my better players better?
Yeah.
And I think that is quite a good middle ground for a build. This one was fun. This was John, Smack My Beach Up, which was his Ogre team with Ogre, 7 Snotlings, 3 rerolls, and 2 Guard Ogres, 2 Break Tackle Ogres, a Grab Ogre, and his one double was spent on block.
Okay.
So he went deep on Ogres and came away with at least 1 win.
It's not bad though, is it?
It was cool. It was a great one. First of all, the team was fantastic. But as a list of skills, that was good. That was a good amount of power. So that's basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 more skill. That's basically the tier 1 list plus a double.
Yeah.
And it kept it pretty balanced.
Like that.
We'll have a quick look at Lewis's list as well. So Lewis ran the gyms, his undead team. So for all you people out there listening, this is the undead team that Lewis had never won a game with.
When we brought him on the show as an expert, we were asked, why did we bring him on the show as an expert? Because he couldn't win a game with them.
We did say he was the most experienced undead team, not the most winningest. 2 mummies, 2 whites, 2 ghouls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zombies, a skeleton, 4 rerolls, 2 fan factor, and he just had guard everywhere. 2 guard mummies, 2 guard whites, and sure hands on the ghoul.
Why the skeleton?
Because it's slightly faster.
Okay.
You normally take a skeleton to run around and be a fowler.
Okay.
Because they've got 1 extra movement. 12 players, total 1,200, tier 1 list. Tough skill choices. He came away with 3-0. That's definitely not the top list that was on the. That was definitely not one of the top lists that was on the World Cup list. And the last one I'll touch on is Khorne. So Sam went 2-1, narrowly losing out in the 3rd round against Orcs. And he went with a Bloodthirster, 2 Heralds, 4 Bloodletters, and 5 Pit Fighters, with 2 rerolls. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Mighty Blow upgrades. on the Thirster, both Heralds, and all the Bloodletters, he just spammed Mighty Blow. And had enough left over to take Leader and Sure Hands on 2 of his normal guys. So he ended up with 3 rerolls, a Sure Hands piece, and 7 Mighty Blow.
Wow.
Interestingly, he didn't win the casualties.
Did he not?
He only got about 3 across the day, but still, it's enough to build a scary list. But he had to make that sacrifice on block, and that was a tier 3 team. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 skills for tier 3 on day 2. So you'd be looking for another 2 skills for day 3. That's when it gets pretty gnarly.
That's when you get claw, baby.
With the double rules, he wouldn't be able to.
Oh no.
First of all, because they don't get claw on the Khorne team. But
What?
yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
That's insane.
The Bloodthirster starts with claw, so he already had.
You
claw
think at least the
low.
Bloodletters would be able to get it, wouldn't you? And the Heralds.
Yeah, well, we've been playing with the secret teams too much.
I think we have, haven't we?
Yeah, where you can just do very, very crazy
Maybe
things. So yeah, that was an example of the different tiers and the different skills that they could take. And the best list from the World Cup was a Wood Elf team, 2 War Dancers, Thrower, 3 Catchers, and Tree Man and 5 Linemen, I think, to pad out the numbers.
Tree Man?
Tree Men were everywhere at the World Cup.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I know. No skills. The idea is he goes on the line, and that's one player you can always put on the line. He's not going to die. Elf,
okay.
When you reset after a touchdown with an Elf team, you put 3 guys on the line. Up to 3 guys can die. You keep getting to put that Tree Man back. It's the same with Skaven. Soon enough, you lose your numbers, and you have to put your valuable pieces on the line. Actually, the Tree Man does save against that.
Yeah, that's true.
And it worked out pretty well for, all the top Wood Elf teams running them, which I never would have thought of.
No.
And if I'd played in the tournament of the weekend, I would have taken the Tree Man, but I was going to put guard on him.
Oh, I like that. The guard's great.
I was going to put guard on him next to the 2 linemen on the line. You know what? They're going to die, but this at least makes it one more player difficult to get that 2-die block. Hopefully to protect those elves. And then you take strip ball, frenzy or tackle on the War Dancer, leader on the thrower for that reroll, and then probably block on a catcher, or spare catches, or kick. So that is the breakdown of the World Cup team builds, and I think I can speak for both of us when I say that it is probably not the standardised set of rules that we're looking for from the NAF.
No, definitely not.
And although I do quite enjoy each tournament being different with its rules and everything like that, it would be nice to have a main one to build on and to copy and to just tweak, as opposed to homegrown every rules. And I've been involved with the SWTC now, and I'm looking at all the different rules packs, and every tournament is wildly different. And I think it would be beneficial to have a single core that you could then tweak. It would save time for the TO, it would make it easier for the players, and then you've got more of a benchmark.
Yeah, you know where you're at, don't you?
Yeah, those are just my thoughts on that. Lovely. Let's move on to the next topic. So topic 2 is team events, which should be a fun topic. So the World Cup was a team, in quotation marks, squad event, because obviously you've got Blood Bowl teams and then you've got teams of Blood Bowl teams.
Okay. Yeah.
I would rather call them a coach team than a squad, because if you say my Blood Bowl team or my coach team, you kind of get it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
this is my squad.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to.
Yeah.
We're going into.
It's peculiar.
Yeah.
The World Cup, anyway, it was a team event, and we have just taken part in our first team-orientated event. So we, Wobble, and we thought we'd have a look at what they can be like. So, the different types of team format. So there's the classic, and the classic is the squad format via the World Cup.
Yep.
The main way that's run is you get a team of coaches, and they play another team of coaches.
Yep.
The matches are either randomised or they're set by seeding, Swiss style.
Yep.
Okay. But there's often 2 different scoring methods. There's individual coach scoring, which happens like most leagues, so like whatever for a win, whatever for a draw, and that affects the individual coach score.
Yep.
Does not affect the team score. The team score is solely dependent on whether more of their coaches win games than the other team.
Okay.
So, say it's a 3-man event, 2 of your players win, you've won that round regardless of the outcome of that 3rd game.
Right, okay, got you.
Okay, there's that format. Then there's a different format, which is the team cumulative format, which we ran at Fobble Wobble Cup, which was each of your coaches gets individual team points, individual points, right? Your team has the total of all the points of your players.
Yep.
So that's the other way I've seen it done.
Yeah.
I have not had an opportunity to play in the squad format, but at Fobble Wobble, if we'd used the squad format, there would have been absolutely no point running that 3rd round.
Really?
Yeah, it was a 4-on-4 tournament, and Wobble won, I think, 3 of the first round games, so they won the first round according to the squad rules, and won 2 or 3 of the second round.
Right.
So actually, that would have been it.
Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome of the 3rd round, that tournament would have been over. But because we used the team cumulative format, we were 86 match points ahead.
Yep.
And it's 30 plus bonuses for each game, and there was 4 games going on, so there was still 120 points to go. Fobble went into that 3rd round And I remember looking at the numbers, and I even texted Tiff saying, "Yep, these guys have got to win out now. They've got to win all 4 rounds. We just have to win 1 round. We just have to win 1 match to win this, and they can't score. They can't score enough points to top it." Then Ian lost to Ogres with his Amazons, and then Sam lost a really close game to Orcs, and then Ben lost to Chaos Dwarfs. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, they are close. And Lewis was drawing with the Lizardman team he was playing, and because of the way the points were going, Fobble were half a win ahead.
Right, okay.
Because of bonus points from casualties, it was 5, 2 and 2 for each team. So because we used the cumulative format, that last round could have swung it. If they'd won out all 4 games, even though Wobble took the first 2 rounds, they would have had enough points to win it.
See, that's good.
I think that made it so exciting, and everyone was crowded around that last game. So PJ was, I think he's 14, and he ran those lizards brilliantly. So Fobble Wobble Cup was Wobble versus Fobble, and there's 4 on each team. So we had Ben, who's been on the show, Sam, who won Tombstone, Ian, who's been on the show, and Lewis, who's been on the show, who won the Wobble League last time.
Yep.
The Major League with his lizards. So we're going. First of all, it was terrifying because we were talking to Lewis and we were like, "Hey, your lizards, you're going to run the lizards, you're going to run the chaos. You did nearly as well with the chaos as you did with the lizards." And he was like, "No, you know what? I'll take the undead." The undead team, who the only game we'd won was against Chaos Halflings, which are a tier 1 billion Stunty League team. And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Ian's running Amazons, Ben's running Elves, although it was High Elves. Sam clearly knows what he's doing with Khorne.
Only just.
Well, it'll be fine." And I got in the car, picked Ian up, we went to pick up Lewis, and we actually joked. We were like, wouldn't it be amazing if Lewis goes 3-0 and wins us the tournament with Undead, and he's never won a game with them before. And he was 2-0 going into the 3rd round, and if he'd lost or drawn that last game, Fobble would have brought it back, which was awesome. So Ben ran High Elves, Ian ran Amazons, Sam ran Mighty Blow Everywhere Khorne, which we just touched on, and Lewis ran Undead with loads of guard. And against them were 4 of their players. So Ben took Orcs, Jonathan took Ogres, Dan took Chaos Dwarfs. They were cool. They were the old school Chaos Dwarf models as well, which looked really tiny, which was quite cool. And PJ, his boy, ran Lizards. First round, PJ gets lined up against Ben.
Yep.
Okay. Ben is a really lovely coach, so he was like, "Yeah, that's fine. We'll have a great game. We'll have a great game." And he got destroyed by lizards, and yeah, it was it was really fun.
Armor 8.
Yeah, he got absolutely destroyed by lizards.
Wow.
It was a really good day, but I kept a track of the points in the way we were doing it, which was cumulative, and the way of squads. And if we'd done it in squads, there would have been no point playing that 3rd round. And I think that would have absolutely deflated everybody.
It would have been pointless, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
no one would have wanted to be there.
But at that point, it was that, right, you need to win all 4 games, or 3 and a draw, and you'll win this. And it gave them all to play for. And it was really exciting. What are your thoughts on team events?
When we touched on something like this a couple of months back, my idea was along the lines of Formula 1, if you remember rightly.
Yeah.
A Constructors' Championship and a Drivers' Championship. So you're looking at... You've got... I feel that you've got to have your own things to be able to work towards as part of a team, as opposed to just a win. I think that to be able to play anything as a team, you've all got to work together. So it's not just about winning or losing, it's about what you actually contribute during that loss, during that win.
Yep.
And so the whole squad, yeah, you won, thanks, is great and all, but if you're the only guy to have lost that round, you're going to be like, yeah, we won, but what did I actually do? I didn't do anything for this. Whereas if you do 5 casualties and you get a touchdown out of it, you're like, you know what? If I didn't get those 5 casualties and that touchdown, what impact could that have had at the end of the day?
And that is exactly what happened. So Ian came away with 2 losses and a draw or something like that. But if he hadn't got that draw and he hadn't got those extra touchdowns, Wobble wouldn't have had quite enough points, and they lost by 14. And our tournament format was 30 for a win, 10 for a draw, +1 for up to 3 touchdowns, up to 3 casualties each game, and a bonus 1 point if you don't let any touchdowns in. So there's a max of 37 points per player each round. And it was literally those guys, like you said, who lost, but they lost as a 2-1.
Yeah.
They got the extra points, or they pulled that draw off, but they absolutely murdered. They were still contributing to the outcome of that event. And you come away at the end, you're like, right, how do we do? I lost, but I still managed to swing a few points. So actually, we're at 100 now, where we would have been at 95. And it can make or break it. And I think it kept it really, really tight. The reason we ran the cumulative format is because we weren't sure how many teams we could get to the event.
Right.
So the idea was that if 3 teams turned up, how the heck do you run a tournament?
Yeah.
So my plan was, if 3 teams of 3 turn up, you've got 9 players. Right. I drop out. So then there's 8 players, and we run a Swiss single, but not playing against anyone on your own team.
Yeah.
But the top 2 coaches of each team, their scores go for each round.
Okay.
As it was, there was a 4-on-4, which was super, and we still managed. We still used that scoring system because I built the spreadsheet. And it meant that you even every touchdown, every casualty, going for that holdout for defense actually did aid the outcome of it. I think I prefer it as a format for single days. I like the idea of, so this is why people like the team build thing. The team tournament event is you can play for the draw. So say you're in a team of 3, so-and-so's already won their game.
Yep.
All you have to do now is draw. So say it's a team of you, me and Ian. Ian wins his game. All you and I have to do now is play for the draw and we win that round.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of that. And it was interesting talking to Ben, the captain of the football team. I was like, have you had any team tactics with you guys? And he was like, yeah, pay attention to what everyone else is doing and don't risk the draw for a win, because you'll win on aggregate.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And while that very simple outcome wasn't available, from a points point of view, it still was. Don't risk the 0, go for the 10.
Yeah.
If you can't get the 30, just stick with the 10, because if you're already ahead on points, you're still grinding those points up.
And 10's better than nothing.
And it made a massive difference.
I like it. I like it. I think it's an excellent way of being able to build as a team as well. If you went into several tournaments with that same team, you'll get the tactics will work better. You'll understand what impact you're having, even if you are losing a game, or if you're unlikely to win it and you're looking at it going, oh, you know what, this game's done. You're not playing for you're playing for your team. You know what, fine, I'm going to lose, he's stalling. All right, let's just go for the kill. Yeah. Let's get him out, get him gone.
And let's reduce their points.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're 1-0 and you can't bring it back, try like heck to stop that second touchdown.
Yeah.
Because those points do work. So, have you got any ideas of other ways to give events a team feel? So 1-day events, maybe 2-day events if you fancy. I really enjoyed the idea of playing for a reason like that. It linked all the teams together, it was cool. I thought having factions at a tournament might be quite interesting, and we spoke about this a couple of times before.
We have.
Like going to a tournament and choosing a house to represent or something, and aligning it and having your match points go towards that faction, and
like
then
a greater league table and things like that. I'm still big for something like that. If you've got it there, I think you can get that friendly rivalry between others. You can get that respect, and I think one of the issues I had with the World Cup was they did this little press conference and they're trying to make it a bigger thing than it has been before, which is a nice thing for them to want to do, and I think it shows where they want to be with regards to Blood Bowl with the tournament stages and the competitiveness. However, as a outsider and a potential spectator, I didn't have anybody to root for at all.
Well, that's, I think, an issue with the branding rather than what it was. It was a team tournament.
Yeah.
The World Cup in football is a showcase.
It is, but they've also got to earn their place there. And that's where I was coming to with this, is at the World Cup, you know what? There's my money. I'm going to come and do this. We've got a team. We'll see you there in 6 months. But there's nothing to say that, you know what, you're the best of the best. Let's go out there and compete against those out there. But you could have had 6 Team Englands, but which Team England actually gets through?
So that you're talking about is the Euro Bowl. That's exactly what the Euro Bowl is.
Is it?
Yes. that in the news bit, we're voting for Team England. That is you selecting there's restrictions on NAF coaches. They've got to have played 24 NAF ranked games within the last year. They've got to have a standing of something, and basically as you're voting, or they're voting to choose the best English players to go and represent Team England.
Right.
But it's a branding thing, because spectating of Blood Bowl isn't there yet.
No, it's not.
There's a lot of people that are working on it. Twitch streaming and YouTube, I know, is something that I'm very excited for, because I've seen great work with Magic the Gathering, and I'd love to have that for Blood Bowl. I'd love to be invested. I'd love to see a team progress, a league progress, and like you said, have something to root for.
That's it. And I think that if you have that sort of, like the factions, like the houses, or what you want to call it, your teams, if you're not a part of it and you're just happy being a casual player and seeing how it goes, if you all of a sudden have, oh, you know what, I quite like this player, I played against him at a tournament.
Yeah.
However, he's on this what team? And all of a sudden you're rooting for the Black Roses from Birmingham or something. But you've got that sort of, you know what, they're my team. And I think you get a better investment from spectators.
You start building brand, you start building identity, and you start building allegiance. So, complete aside to what we're talking about, SWTC, that is exactly what I'm doing with the SWTC as well.
Excellent.
So, doing a preview for each of the tournaments, talking about the rules pack and talking about the kind of teams you can see and the special rules that are taking place, and then afterwards, doing the standings for the players that went in. So you will see players, you may even be those players, you'll see your scores go up, you'll see where you are in those points. And like you said, if you've played against one, so I'm pretty sure Hawker, who was the guy who used to run the SWTC, I think he won the last one or the one before that, I played against Hawker. He's up there, he's third place, he's really good, I reckon he can take it. If he goes and he plays in the Elf Olympics, he can score himself another 30 points. And actually that'll make him clear. And then we are one step further towards having just something special, something else, which I think is really cool. However, for actual tournaments, I think if you're not going to have teams, because I don't think rocking up to a tournament and then being assigned a random team is a great thing.
No, you need to have that team beforehand. I know when we spoke about it before, I think you can have a maximum number of players on that team.
It depends on the format of the tournament.
And that was, but you can only have so many per tournament.
Yeah.
So say for example you had 6 players in your team, you could have no more than 3 have results registered per tournament.
So I don't think that rocking up and being like, right, we're going to pair you up into groups of 3 means absolutely anything.
No, it doesn't.
Going to a tournament as a team, whether you're getting points just to win that one day or points to win something longer, is a completely different feel. So we had shirts made up for Wobble with numbers, and it was just a tiny thing, but it was cool. We went there as a unit. If, for example, you get to pick an allegiance before an event, having the points for that allegiance add up and then having everybody on that allegiance win a little spot prize or something at the end could be another way of being kind of invested to that.
I like that. Now, there's a BB2 game, probably on Xbox as well, not BB2 game, a PS4 game called For Honor. And you've got, on it you are a Viking, a samurai or a knight. But every game that you play goes towards what you're doing as a faction.
That's cool.
So your game might be, you might come third and it earns you X amount of points, but then that whole system is the fact that might help you take over that area there and take out the ninjas, but you don't know how that's actually going to play out until the end of that sort of series anyway. So you're playing for here and now, you're working together because 1, you obviously want to boost what you're doing, but 2, you're actually playing for something else going forward. And I think if you've got sort of the mindset where you can all work together and you've got something you can push together, you're only going to be able to enjoy the game a bit more.
That is so cool. And that links into, so I'm an old school Warhammer player, or I was, and there was this Shadows over Albion campaign, which is the setting that Beachhead Bowl is basically in. And they had 2 sides. It was an online campaign, so you played your games, you registered your results, and you either sided with the Dark Emissaries or sided with the Truthsayers for control of Albion, this island.
and you registered your results. And at the end of it, like, different factions got a couple of magic items that were rubbish that they could use in the game. Like that kind of narrative. And I think that just adds something, it creates extra value to what you're doing. So where we have Beachhead coming up, and in that you do choose an allegiance.
You do.
Because you either get to kill a reroll or gain a reroll on the chance if you're a Truthsayer or a Dark Emissary. I would love to keep a running tally of the scores for one or the other.
That'd be cool.
It might be completely uneven, and I think that's fine. So actually, because you get to choose, either each half you roll a dice, and on a 4+ you kill one of their rerolls, or on a 4+ you gain one of your rerolls. You make that choice for the entire tournament. It's a freebie. Okay, it's got a slight effect. So maybe everyone will. I think. What would you go with?
Kill it.
Cool. I would actually go with gain one. Yeah, because I would kind of lean my list towards that.
Yep.
I maybe drop a reroll, because actually for one half I'm statistically likely to gain a reroll. It adds a little bit of fun to the factor, but we could keep a tally of that, and then we could give the winning faction, like, I don't know, a pin badge, just something to say my faction won Beachhead 2020.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah, and you can do that for other tournaments, and you can have multiple houses or multiple factions, and there's more you can do that can help unify the scores from a single event to matter for that single event.
So, in that regard, instead of having people create their own teams, you'd have to create your own factions.
Yeah.
Or we would have to create the factions relevant to the tournaments or whatever it is.
So, because we spoke about this a little bit before Tombstone, and we said, you know what, we could have something like the Necromancers, the Vampires, and this. And you ally yourself with one of those factions, and either you get a special bonus or something to your team, and at the end of it, you're vying for that house.
Yeah.
But it didn't gel quite right with what we wanted.
No.
It might be something we look into next year, or it might be something we look into one of our other tournaments. But I like the extra narrative of that.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, when you've finished your game, you could be looking around, going, "On a second, what's he up to? I know he's on my team. I know he's part of what we're looking to do at the end of it." Yeah. And it is just a little bit of something, to bond.
But if you're going to have an open tournament, you are going to end up facing against your own faction. And that's just something that happens. But we'll talk about the big thing now, which is a linked scoring system. So we're just going to touch on this lightly this episode. But, you mentioned it, Formula One, but also sending a team to different events. I think there's it all it all ends up in one of two camps, which is narrative teamwork and competitive teamwork.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we spoke about them just there. Competitive teamwork is right. Us three, we're going to have this team. We're going to score some points. We're going to win the event. Narrative teamwork is what we just spoke about. Like, actually, our team's going to win the greater thing. Like you said in that Knights game. Like, competitively, I don't know if you actually get anything out of having the Knights faction beat the Samurais.
No.
But
Nothing at
it's
all.
just that extra bit of purpose.
Yeah.
And I think those two things are really powerful for Blood Bowl players, because it is two of the biggest elements, which is your story and your gameplay. So a tournament series where your points add up gives meaning to that. So on a single and individual level, the SWTC is exactly that, which is you go and based on your ranking, not your team, not your outcome of the tournament, just your ranking, you gain points, and the more points you win, the higher up you go. And then if you win you win the most points during that year, you win the SWTC trophy. For a team tournament points, like team tournament series, would be awesome.
Yeah, it really would.
But like you suggested just there, you can have 5-6 people on your team. You only get to have 3 go to an event, or you only get to choose those 3 to score.
Yeah.
So it balances out having, I'm a group of 3 guys, we go to all these events, or we're Wobble, where there's like
just
15 of us.
Yeah.
That said, I don't think it would be a problem to have Wobble A and Wobble B. I think that'd be quite cool.
No, I like that as well.
But then those guys are locked in, and you gain the points for it. So really, this is a shout out to everyone out there who's listening. Team events, adding that extra bit of meaning, and also in some regards tactics and rules, to whatever's going on can be quite interesting. So if anyone's out there's got good examples or good ideas, or you know what, I've played in this team event and they did it this way and it was fantastic, then get in touch and let us know, because this is definitely something we're going to be talking about again in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, I think for a game where you're concentrating almost solely on yourself, it misses that team aspect. I really do, and I think that something like this, where you can be a part of something greater on a more regular basis, not just a Euro Bowl, not just a World Cup, it could be a brilliant thing.
So you just reminded me of one other thing I wanted to talk about with regards to the team feel. There is no team tactics, are there?
No.
You are in control of your own team and your own team's performance, and that is it.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose who you play against, you don't get to choose anything else. There is no interplay between a team.
Yeah.
But I did have this idea. You go to a team event and every team gets a pack of special play cards.
Okay.
The same pack for all teams. Your team gets matched up against their team. You already know the matches, right? So, you know, you're rich, you're playing elves against...
It must be fantasy.
But they look like trees, right? And you're playing So you're playing a dodge heavy list, okay? Because it's goblins or it's stunty, and you're playing against dwarfs. You know what that matchup is likely to be. As a team, you get together before, have a quick huddle. You've got these 12 cards that you can use over these 3 games. One player can use 1 card per game. As a team, you look at them and you can go, right, I've got dwarves, so don't even bother with me. Or there's a special play card in there that does something special. You can be like, actually, that's going to play out really well in my matchup. Should we use this on my game? And you can use it for that one game. That's the only kind of thing I could think of to bring in some kind of team huddle before an event without changing the matchups.
Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of special play cards.
Either whether it's the actual Games Workshop special play cards or some kind of tournament-based special play card.
Obviously, I like that more.
Yeah, where actually you give everyone this toolkit, and it can be literally like, I don't know, anything we spoke before, like an extra blitz or something like that, where you can actually just give it to one team and be like, right, actually guys, I've got a great opportunity to smash face and get extra points for our team. Let me have the automatic roll a 10 on the kickoff table card. Every team gets one, they can use it in one matchup of their choice. But it gives you that kind of team tactics. And you can shoot your best cards earlier on and you can end up with dregs the rest, or you can balance it. But actually, it gives you decisions to make as a team, which I think is otherwise very lacking in Blood Bowl.
Very, very lacking.
And it can be all kinds of toolkit things. So it can be an extra apothecary, a wizard, nothing that requires models, because that's too much play. But you can look at those matchups and you could maybe take one of those cards into each round.
I like it.
And you get an opportunity there to discuss tactics with your team, and actually you've got a small decision to make that will affect the outcome of those games. And that was the only thing I could think of. There would be a way to introduce a minor event that ties in your team to the actual all games at once.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something. I can't think of anything now, other than maybe, I don't know, because I think it'd have to be tournament based. I thought almost like Burmayhem.
Well, where each of your players,
but not necessarily each of them, but almost similarly.
Yeah.
So it can be an individual, like on this team. You know what?
Absolutely. This round I can really use that Strength 4 Blitz, that Strength 4 Frenzy guy.
Yeah.
Give me the Strength 4 Frenzy card because I'm playing against ogres, and actually I can score loads of cows here, or I'm going to need this. Or it could just be the Tackle card, where for one turn you get tackle on all of your players.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm playing against Zons. I'm humans. I've got a good opportunity here because I've got 7 block guys. Play tackle, take them all out. There's just some things there that we could do, or that actually tournaments could do, if you're going to introduce that team element where you get some choices to make.
Yeah, I'll definitely be interested to see if anyone's got any ideas on that. Yeah, because there's definitely something out there.
So let us know if you've tried anything or seen anything, and really think about how you can get some kind of team decision making process into it, and whether it's good for teams of 2 or 6, it could be really cool. And that brings us to the star player of the episode, which for today is going to be Zzharg Madeye. He was the only star player taken at Fobble Wobble Cup, and we've never actually talked about him on the show before.
Have we not?
I don't think we have. let's face it, we haven't had a lot of opportunity to talk about Chaos Dwarf star players.
No.
We love Grashnag. We love Zzharg.
We do. That's what I'm thinking of. We spoke about Zzharg, don't we?
Because he's awesome.
Yeah.
So it made sense to give him his moment in the spotlight. And as, Chaos Dwarf rumours mean he might be useful soon. Actually, he'll probably be gone soon. Yeah, like...
So, Slibley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't
know they got Enki Panky now, but...
I'm not a massive fan of Sibby's replacement, but the skinks are cool. Dribble and Drawl.
Yeah, they are
so
quite
good.
cool.
So good. Right, so Zzharg Madeye can only play for Chaos Dwarves. He's 90k, he's 4439. Alright? So strength 4, so let's bear that in mind. Loner, Hail Mary Pass, Secret Weapon, Strong Arm, Sure Hands, Tackle, and Thick Skull.
Yep.
So, because I'm a pessimist, let's go with the bad thing first. Secret Weapon.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to say Dwarf. Yep, go on.
Oh, I think we just skipped it. Chaos Dwarves are good. Chaos Dwarves are fun.
They're manageable.
Chaos Dwarves are fun. I like them because you've got the big guys, you've got a Minotaur if you want one, and you've got a bunch of rubbish linesmen who aren't actually that rubbish. They should be goblins. They should be actual goblins with Stunty. That would make that cool. Team so much more fun.
But it's not thematically correct then, would it? Because the Hobgoblins are slaves for Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, we'll just say the Hobgoblins are strength 2.
Yeah, that's fair
They're
enough.
not in any kind of game, haven't been for dozens of years.
No, they haven't, have they?
No, so they could definitely knock those guys down to actual goblin stats. First of all, it would save them releasing goblin models because they're already goblins. Everybody who's running Chaos Dwarves these days are either using third-party teams or they're using goblins as the Hobgoblins.
Oh yeah, that's what I did with Roundup.
Exactly. Just makes sense. So, Secret Weapon. You get 1 drive with this guy only. Okay. Chaos Dwarves don't get reduced bribes. So you're paying either 90 or 190 to use him twice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
No, he's a 1-drive wonder, isn't he?
Yeah. The great thing about him is he's got strength 4.
Yeah, and edge 3.
Yeah, which for dwarves
is massive.
He's actually a really good ball handler.
Really is.
He's got sure hands as well.
Yep.
And if you need to get rid of that ball, he's got Hail Mary Pass and Pass.
Yeah.
And strong arm. So you don't often throw to dwarves, but actually, you know what? Bull Centaurs catch on a 4+.
Yep.
And he's got Pass and Strong Arm and Edge 3. So he's long passing on a 4+.
Yeah.
So with a reroll.
With a free reroll.
Yeah, with the Pass free reroll.
You've got a good 75% chance of...
He picks up the ball on a 3+ with a reroll.
Yeah.
And then he can shovel it off 10 squares on a 4+ with a reroll.
Yeah.
That is a huge play opportunity for Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, it's a killer, isn't it?
The sad thing is, he was taken on the Chaos Dwarf team at Fobble Bobble and he really didn't get any use. No, I'm pretty sure he got turn 7 deployed first half each time, yeah. Or casualtied. But I think, as a bit of a toolbox, for 90k to have an extra person who's strength 4 on the line, let's say you're running them properly and you're running 2 Bull Centaurs, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't want to blitz with the Bull Centaurs, which you really should be doing, you've got a lineup of 3 strength 4 guys, and then 6 block tackle, armor 9.
That's killer, isn't it?
It absolutely turns them into mincers. This guy's got tackle as well. So I think I'm not normally a big fan of secret weapons on Hobgoblins, and I'm certainly not normally a fan of secret weapons that aren't murdery. Okay, chainsaws are great. Ball and chains are great. This secret weapon is not going to take anybody out, but he's basically a one-shot loot grip.
Yeah, he is.
That you can deploy on the line if you need to. And I think that's the other thing for me, is if you're running a league, he gives you that option of someone to put on the line that you don't care if he dies.
He's also almost manageable to roster.
Well, yeah, 90k is a bargain.
Yeah.
Chaos Dwarves are 70k each. Drop a lineman, take him. Alright, you're going to be down a player automatically when that
when you run out of your 20k or whatever it is. Top him up.
Well, when the secret weapon goes, you're down a player.
Oh, right, yeah.
But he does a lot of stuff. He's got sure hands. Edge 3 sure hands. He's useful for tournament builds in that regard. But only for one drive. But the idea is Chaos Dwarves don't die very easily.
No.
They shouldn't anyway. So and with the cheap 40k Hobgoblins, you should have an opportunity to have a 12 or 13 man team. So you should be able to keep him benched so that you deploy him on your drive.
Yeah.
And And actually, you know what? I think this guy's quite cool.
I like him. Randall used him before he had to go home ill against Ben.
Oh.
But Randall was planning on using him as just a strength 4 guy.
And you know what? 90k for a single drive of strength 4 is still really good.
Stick him on the line and just go to town.
Yeah, he's just in there. And once you've got guard on a couple of your Chaos Dwarf Linos, which you end up with automatically, he's great.
Yeah, he's massive, isn't he?
So let us know your thoughts on Zzharg Madeye before Games Workshop make him disappear.
That's sad but true.
Yeah, it is. And that wraps it up for episode 29. Rich, it's lovely to have you back on the show.
It's nice to be back.
And
it's nice to have a bit of normality again.
Yeah, it's cool to talk some nonsense with you because we've got a lot of nonsense to talk about.
We really do.
And next episode will be one of 2 very interesting topics.
One of 2.
It'll either be ogres or tournament series.
Couldn't be any better, could it?
We'll have to find out next time.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I know, right. Once again, everybody, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again soon.